Good evening, everyone. You are welcome to nursing today's facilitation live presentation on Unit 2 under the module NSC 303. I can see Grace. I welcome you to the online facilitation. Thank you for joining. Thank you. All right. Wow. I think we'll go straight into the business of the day. And as we know that we are on Unit 2, and the title of the Unit 2 is Primary Health Care Concept and Structure. Primary Health Care Concept and Principle Structure. That's what we are going to be looking at. Earlier today, I've posted the instructional video on the VLE. I want to believe that you've managed to download it and find time to go through it. I want to see how many are able to do so. If you have managed to download the online instructional video, can you type on the chats? Yes. Yeah, for those of us who have joined live, please, if you can hear me and you have managed to look at the materials for this live session, can you just type on the chat? Yes. I just want to quickly emphasize to us that going through the resources that is being posted before the live session is compulsory. And the reason for all these steps that the institution is taking is to reduce mass failure among the students. And you can only help the institution or the department to help you. If you don't help the department, there's no how the department or the lecturers or the facilitators or the institution are going to help you. And so it is important that as much as you are making effort to join the live presentation, you also find time to also download the resources and go through them so that we can have good interaction. You see, the essence of this live presentation is to have interaction with the students. And there is no way we can have good or effective and efficient interaction if you are not communicating with me. And the only way you can communicate with me is when you have gone through the materials. I mean the PowerPoint video presentation that has been earlier posted. If you have not taken time to look at it, read it, and listening to the explanation in it, there's no way you will have questions that you will ask me. And so I just want to kindly and humbly request that please, from now going forward, make sure you read your materials before you come to the live session, and make sure that you download all these materials and you go through them. The course may look big to you to look at. That is why we've kind of put it in a more simplified way so as to help students get the lesson. So I hope that from now going forward, there will be improvements, because from my chat, I practically do not see anyone indicating that they have gotten the online video and they have listened to it. So without wasting, and I also want to say kindly, because this is a live class, for those of us that are joining, please kindly join with your video. Make sure that your video is active. Make your video active. Let me see who I'm facilitating. Thank you. I hope all those points are well taken. Thank you, Alice. You're welcome. All right, without wasting further time, like I said, that today we are looking at Unit 2, which is titled Primary Health Concept and Primary Health Concept and Principle Structure. So that's what we are going to basically be discussing in this in the next 54 minutes. And so in the previous class, I'm sure Grace was around in our previous class, we tried to define what PAC is, what are the aims of PAC. And in this unit, we want to take a step further to understand what are the components of PAC, what are the elements of PAC, what are the principles and the role of a nurse in a PAC. You understand with me that in every course, there is always a learning objectives. And what is the learning objective for this Unit 2? At the end of this facilitation for this Unit 2, students are expected to be able to discuss and explain the component of PAC. You have to be able to explain and list the component of PAC, be able to define what PAC is according to WHO, what is the definition of PAC, and also explain the principles of PAC. You also need to be careful not to mix the components with the principles. The principles of PAC and the component of PAC are two different things. So please, when you are reading, try to get that, when you come across that in an exam or in your assignments, please don't mix it up. And finally, you need to be able to illustrate the role of a nurse. A nurse has a role in the PAC, and so you have to be able to explain all that. And in these few minutes, we are going to unpack and all this, so that at the end of this course, at the end of this unit, you are able to do that. All right. Is there any question before we proceed further? All right. I'm not seeing. If you have any question, just raise your electronic hand and you will be acknowledged, or you post your question on the chat. All right. But it's more easier when you raise your electronic hand, that I can see easily. All right, then. In the previous class, also in Unit 1, we were able to unpack that the health of an individual is affected, that the health of an individual is affected by many factors. And if you are in class 1, in Unit 1, you agree with me that we said that the physical, the mental, and the social factors affect the health of an individual. Even the spiritual factors affect an individual's health. And so in this Unit 2, we want to see how these factors play a role in an individual before an individual can attain a good health. And so we move straight to the definition. What is the definition of PAC? You agree with me that according to WHO, 4 keywords are looked at. 4 keywords are looked at in the definition. The definition of primary health care, which I'll be using PAC as an abbreviation, looks at affordability, accessibility, acceptability, and affordability. You look at it that the service, the health service that is being provided at the PAC level must be accessible to the people, must be acceptable to the people, must be affordable to the people, and lastly, it must be it must be affordable to the people. So when you look at all these factors in the PHC primary healthcare definition, according to WHO, how do they come about this definition? Allow me to share my screen on the PowerPoints. Then you can see what I'm talking about. I'm sharing my screen. So it's coming up now. Hello. Okay. I'm trying to share my screen. Okay. I don't know why it's not coming up. I'm trying to share screen. Share. Okay, let's see if it will come up now. Okay, while we are waiting for my screen to come up, okay, can you all see the screen? I believe we can all see the screen. It says the primary healthcare concept. This concept of primary healthcare has been involved from re-examination. It's been involved from examination and evaluation of existing healthcare approaches and assimilation of new experiences. It was realized that the world's priority health problems require development of new approaches for their solution. Hence, the approach in health services was shifted from curative to a preventive approach, from urban to rural population, from privileged to the underprivileged, from unipurpose to multipurpose workers, and from vertical mass campaign to a system of integrated health service forming a component of all over social and economic departments. So you will see with me here that, so you will see how primary health care evolved up to the stage that we have here. And the essence of it, like I said, from the screen that you are seeing, it says that the component of PHC is about giving people an essential care, which is acceptable, accessible, affordable to an individual or community, and even to the country itself, And so, like we were saying, that the idea of primary health care has been evolving, it's been progressive. Where does it come from? And where are we now? And so we see that PHC has been something that has been ongoing. And the definition that we have, according to, that was proposed and that has been in existence since 1978, during the conference that was held and Manhattan Declaration Conference, says that the three things that must be essential is healthcare service has to be accessible to the community, to the people. You will see that, if you agree with me, that most of our healthcare services are dense in the urban area. But in the rural areas, you will see a woman or a family have to walk a distance before they can access a clinic. No. And That's not all. Some even have to travel from one province, from one community to another before they can get healthcare service. And how do you have health for all with that kind of experience? Since the aim of PHC is to have health for all. What do we mean by health for all? Everybody has to, it's a fundamental human right. And so every community should have access to health services, whether you are poor, whether you are rich, whether, irrespective of where you are, it is your right to have access to healthcare services. And so it was discovered that PHC is one component that can help the country or a nation to achieve its people to have access to health services. So instead of allowing people to travel far, you take the health services to them. What do I mean by to them? It's closer to them. That is what we mean by accessibility. When you can access something, you will use it. Then what do we mean by affordability? It is affordable. It is affordable. And what do you mean by acceptability? It has to be culturally accepted. So your service, when you are giving a service to a community, you must first understand the culture of that community, and in your healthcare service to them, it has to be something that is acceptable to them. When it is culturally influenced, when it is something that it is culturally okay, it's more easy for the people to accept it. And so that is that about the definition of PHC. Now we looked at the components. What are the components of PHC? Or maybe before we even look at the component of PHC, many people have not been connected to the meeting due to wrong link. Aibo, I'm getting a feedback here that many people are not connected due to wrong link. I'm sure. Okay. Well, if you can hear me, I've only posted one link, and I said in our first meeting that you need to save that link. That is the link we are going to use throughout this course. Each week that we come online is the same link that you will use. And so kindly, you that you have the right link and you've connected, please kindly post the link to them. And that is why I sent an email. In the email, I also forwarded the link. So kindly, I'm asking you, forward the link to whoever that is having a challenge linking. There is no wrong link here. It's still the same link. Please communicate with your colleagues so that they can also join us. Thank you very much, and thanks for bringing that to my notice. So as I was saying, you will see that in the idea of PHC, the concept of PHC did not just emphasize. It has been from one concept to another before we reach PHC. And so we move to the next stage, which is how primary healthcare, PHC, and phase. And I'm going to share the next slide with you, which says the concept of PHC. And you can see from the figure here, from the figure, you will see the concept of primary healthcare in the center. And in the center has a four arrows that is pointing to the branches that this concept has. And by the side of these arrows, you have conceptualization of basic health on the top. You have conceptualization of basic health services, which is accessibility and availability of health services in rural population. The left side says that the examination and evaluation of health services correlating health with economic development. And we have International Conference on Primary Health Care and Mahatta Declaration. That is where this definition actually involved. Shift of emphasis on preventive approach from curative approach. I've explained that earlier. But you will see that it begins from basic health service approach, which occurred in 1970. Then it progressed to another concept, which took place in 1977. Then we have the final one, which happens to be in 1978. So finally, in 1978, a definition was proposed, which is defined as essential health care that is based on practical, scientifically sound, and socially acceptable methods and technology made universally accessible to individuals and families in the community through their full participation and at a cost that the community and the country can afford to maintain at every stage of their development in the spirit of self-reliance and self-determination. Hence, we can say that PHC is a practical approach to make essential health care universal, to make healthcare universal more accessible. Please, can you mute yourself, Yusuf? Can you? Okay, thank you so much. All right, so I've said, like I said, that PHC, we've seen the progression of PHC, and we've seen that the whole idea is to move from curative to preventive concepts. And that's why when you are posted to a PHC, you want to give a health talk. You want to do everything in the spirit of the culture that the community accepts. Because if the health service is accessible to them, if it is available to them, if it is not affordable to them, they are not going to come to the clinic. They're not going to come to the clinic. And it has to be acceptable as well. So you see 4 aids, and you just need to note this secret. When you are asked to define PHC according to WHO, once you just, at the back of your mind, just understand that it must be practical, it must be scientifically sound, and it must be accessible, available, affordable, and acceptable. So you see these 3 aids must be in your definition, along with it must be practical, it must be scientifically sound. And so that takes us to the component. What are the components of PHC? The PHC has its component as well as its principles. So the PHC has 8 components of PHC. What are these 8 components? And so you don't just look at my mouth talking. Just allow me to, I'm going to put it on the screen, and we are going to itemize it together because I'm going to quiz you before the end of this class. So I'm sharing the screen on the component of the PHC. Okay, share. Okay, so, okay. Okay, you can see on my screen, we have element of PHC. Elements or components. When you see, wherever you see elements, it's the same thing as components. And I said that the level of primary health care involves 8 essential elements or components. And what are these components? 1, education concerning prevailing health problems and the method of preventing and controlling them. That is one component. The second component is promotion of food supply and proper nutrition. Promotion of food supply and food promotion. That is okay. That is the second one. That is the second one. The third one is an adequate supply of safe water and basic sanitation. Maternal and child health are maternal and child care, including family planning. That is the fourth one. The fifth one is immunization against major infectious disease. The sixth one is prevention and control of local endemic disease. And the seventh one is appropriate treatment of common diseases and injuries. Provision of essential drugs. That is the last one. So I'm going to, before we go further, I'm going to quickly ask those of us that we are live with me now, I want you to just put on the screen 8 components that we just discussed now. Just put on the charts these 8 components. You are more than 8, so each of you can give me one component as we just mentioned. So I'm waiting just to be sure that we are together. Don't forget, this is a facilitation. It is not a lecture, so we are supposed to dialogue. So I'm expecting to see, type on the chat, the 8 components of primary health care. So I'm waiting to see on the chat the 8 components. Okay, please use the chat. Okay, essential provision of essential drugs, fine. Yes, promotion of food supply and proper nutrition, excellent, that's 2. Okay, someone else has said provision of essential drugs. Okay, remaining 6. Okay, health education. Okay, immunization, provision of drugs. Okay, now you have opportunity. Say them. It's not just immunization. It's not just immunization. So please, okay, treatment of disease and injury. Treatment of disease and injury. That's incomplete. That is incomplete. Alice Johnson, that's incomplete. Adequate supply of safe water and basic sanitation. Yes. Maternal and child care. That also is incomplete. So, but I must say thank you to all of you that you've tried. So we are going to the next slide, which talk on the principles. Don't forget I said that the components and the principles are not the same. So we've just itemized the component, the 8 components of PAC, and now we are going to the principles of PAC. As you can see on my screen, it's principles of PAC or primary health care. We have 5 basic principles of PAC, and one is equitable distribution of resources. 2 is manpower development. 3 is community involvement or participation. And the 4th one is appropriate technology. And the last one is intersectoral coordination. The next slide illustrates this principle. The next slide illustrates this principle. You can see on my slide there is an arrow You have the principle of primary health care, which is on the top, and it has 5 arrows, 5 trees, or 5 pointers pointing to different boxes. And the first one, like I said, is equitable distribution of resources. The next one is manpower development, community involvement, participation, appropriate technology, and intersectoral coordination. We are going to unpack each of these principles. But before we unpack each of these principles, I want us to give back to me what we just said. The 5 principles of PAC, what are they? Can you just quickly type it on the chat so that I know that we are all on the same page? The 5 principles of PAC, I just mentioned: equitable, manpower. I'm waiting to see. Okay, manpower development, yes. That's the second principle. The first principle, what is it? The third principle, what is it? Okay, community participation and involvement, yes. Yes. Intersectoral, okay, intersectoral collaboration, yes. Equitable distribution of resources, appropriate technology. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your involvement and your participation in this session. All right, then we are going to look at each of these principles. We are going to look at each of these. Can you please mute yourself? So we are going to look at each of these principles and unpack them. What do they mean? What does equitable distribution of resources, what does it mean in the context of PAC? What does it mean when we say manpower development? What does it mean when we say intersectoral coordination, community involvement, and participation? So let's unpack. We start with principle 1, which is equitable distribution of resources. So let's look at what it is. Allow me to share my screen on that. And so you have equitable distribution of resources. What it simply means is health care service that is shared equally by all the people, irrespective of their ability to pay, and all the people, among all the people, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whether you are living in the rural community, or whether you are in urban area, you are living in the city. The healthcare service of a nation must be accessible to all this class of people. That is what equitable distribution of resources simply means. But the inability to receive healthcare services by majority of rural people living in the rural area is considered as inaccessibility. And so if I may ask those of us that we are live here, if people in the rural community are not having access to healthcare service, can we say that nation has actually achieved the aim of PAC? I need a response. If you agree with me that inability of a community or inability of, Yusuf, please kindly mute yourself. Thank you. All right. So if a community or a village are not having access to healthcare services, whether because they don't have money, whether because they are poor, whether because they are living in a remote area, can we say that nation has achieved the goal of PAC, which is health for all and getting healthcare services to the community at accessible, affordable, available, and affordable cost? No. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
No.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It is no, and that is no fear at all. And so don't forget, in our introduction, we said that the aim of the PAC is to bring healthcare service to the people and to reduce the concentration of health facility from the city to the community, as in the rural community where we have large more of people that they stay. So that takes us to the next principle, which is what? Can you type on the screen for me? The next principle is manpower development. So we are going to unpack the next principle now, which is manpower development. Thank you so much. In manpower, from that word, manpower, we need manpower resources. As much as we need other material resources, we also need manpower resources. And these manpower resources in the PAC do not only involve the nurses. You understand with me that for those who are working in the primary healthcare settings, you have the community health workers working with you, you have the nurses, you have the doctors, you also have other healthcare providers. And usually the community health providers that the local government employed, we want to make sure that they are from the community. And the reason why we want to make sure that the reason why it's important for you to have community health workers that is from that community or from that setting is because they understand the people. It's because they are the ones that will sensitize their people, the community members, to access this clinic and to tell them to discover, oh, there is this program in the clinic. When you bring your child or when you are pregnant, there is what we know as antenatal clinic. So you should come. And so we see the importance of manpower development. And on the slides here, I simply just say that the manpower development in the context of health includes both professional and auxiliary health personnel, members of community and supporting staff, that we've just said. And the aim is to mobilize the human potential of the entire community by making use of all available resources. And what are these resources? These resources are human beings, like the community health workers, the nurses, the doctors. And so we see that PAC focus on education and training of health workers to perform functions relevant to countries' health problems, reorientation of health personnel, planning health manpower according to the needs of the health system in terms of right kind of manpower, the right number, at the right time, in the right place. And so we see that under manpower principle, you see, you have to make sure that you employ the right amount of people and at the same time, the right kind of people. Like I've just mentioned, the caliber of health personnel that works in the community. And that's manpower development. And that takes us to the third principle. And what is this third principle? Appropriate technology. Under appropriate technology, what do we mean by appropriate technology? You will see that you can bring, let me try to see what are the sophisticated machines that we use in the city. You can bring it to the rural PAC, because to the people it's not going to really make sense to them. And so you want to introduce Yakub, please kindly mute yourself. Thank you, Yakub. All right. So as I was saying, that using the right appropriate technology is also essential. Something that they can use, something that someone can use without being an expert. You don't have to be an expert before you use it. That is the kind of technology you want to bring to the rural area. An example that I will just give is the issue of ORS. Is the issue of ORS. You will see that in teaching, you will see that in teaching, you will see that, please, Yakub Fasilat, please, can you kindly mute yourself? You kindly mute yourself, please. Thank you. Thank you. Please mute yourself. You mute yourself. You are disturbing the flow. Yeah. You've not. Please mute yourself. All right, let's continue. So I was saying that the right technology, the appropriate technology should be used. It will make sense for a woman in the community when you teach the person a simple ORS, oral rehydration solution, using the simple materials that is locally available in their village, than bringing a sophisticated technology for them to come and use. And the next one is community participation and involvement. Community participation and involvement. So under community participation and involvement, you want to involve the community. You want to involve the leaders of the community. You want to ask for their contribution, because you understand that health service, as in health clinic alone, cannot run. So under community involvement and participation, you have, I'm trying to share my screen now. It's just a process of involving the people. You want to involve the individual, you want to involve the community, you want to even involve the family, because you want them to take responsibility in promoting their own health, responsibility in promoting their own health. And you will understand with me that the individual in the communities knows their own situation better than you. If you are not living in that community, you don't understand their situation as much as they themselves that are living in that community. And for that reason, they are in better position, and they are also motivated to solve their own problem if they are well guided. And that takes us to the last principle, which is intersectoral coordination. As a nurse, you understand with me that you just have to work with others. What do I mean by others? The individual, the family, and the community, because all these things, all these components works together. And so PHC cannot be provided by the health sectors alone. No, you also have other aspects of other factors or other sectors that also influence the health of an individual or the smooth running of healthcare system. What are they? You have the development of PHC. Also rests upon other coordination of other levels. I mean, what are all these other aspects? You have agriculture, you have food industry, you have education, you have communication and media. All these other things also are essential. Imagine where in a community where there is no food, or where the agriculture is affected by some pests. So in essence, we just looked at the other sectors like agriculture, like food industry, like sanitation, like communication, like media, all these other factors also contribute to the smooth running of the PAC. And so you will just agree with me that it is also important to also understand all these components, because when we understand all these components, it helps us to identify where challenges, or to better educate the community member. And so far, I want to pause and ask if there is question before we move to the last segment in this facilitation. And the last segment we are going to be looking at is the role of a nurse in the PAC. So is there contribution or question? Please send your contribution or question. Like I said, this is not a lecture. And so you just have to talk back to me. Please talk back to me so that I can understand that we are following. So contribution and question. If you don't ask me question, I will ask you question. If you don't ask me question, I will ask you question. So far, what is not clear?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
My name is Gift Adimeku.
Okay.
Please, can you throw more light on intersectoral coordination?
Okay.
The principles of PSC, the intersectoral coordination.
Okay, that is the principle 5. When I said intersectoral, I mentioned that the health service cannot work alone. What do we mean by intersectoral? You also have other sectors that needs to play a role for effective healthcare service. And I mentioned that these sectors are agriculture. The community people needs to eat. They need to have food. And so we want to understand that all these sectors also play a role in the health of the community members. You have the food industry. You also have the sanitation departments. You see, all these things play a tangible role in the health of the community where we are serving as nurses in the primary HC. And we also understand communication. Communication is also important. What are the informations that the community people have concerning health and mass media? What do we mean by mass media? The importance of radio, televisions, where you can send information on health, as in what lifestyle that promotes good health. This is what we mean by intersectoral principle. And so, but furthermore, I will also encourage you to download the instructional video on Unit 2 that is on the page. You will get more explanation and more detail than what just summarized in this live presentation. All right, thank you for that question. We move to the next, to the last, which says the role of a nurse. The role of a nurse in the PAC. Basically, nurses have four major roles in the PAC. You need to take note of that. One, the nurse is an educator. You are a teacher and an educator. That is one role of a nurse in the PAC. Secondly, you are also the nurse also in the PAC. Let me just share my screen so that you can see what I'm saying. So that you can see what I'm saying. You can see from the figure that I have here, it says that the role of a nurse, the role of a nurse. And under the role of a nurse, you have the nurse as a direct care provider. You are a direct care provider. The nurse as a teacher and an educator. The nurse as a supervisor and a manager. The nurse as a teacher and an evaluator. So we are going to unpack all these four roles of a nurse. If we say a nurse is a direct care provider, what do we mean by a nurse being? And don't forget that component was established or put up in December 1985. It's also important that in PAC we note the date. A nurse as a direct care provider simply must develop a variety of skills which the person can use to utilize in both clinical and community settings in order to participate actively in providing care in relation to the component of the PAC. And so you understand with me that when a woman comes to you pregnant and you don't just want to give treatment, or you don't just want to give TT injection. You also want to tell or educate this woman on the risk factor based on the condition she is. So you see that a woman, a nurse has a direct contact or a direct influence on the patient generally. And what do we mean by a nurse as a teacher and an educator? You are a teacher and you are an educator because you're going to give health education to your patient. You're not only going to teach the patient, you're not only going to teach the community, you're even going to train the auxiliaries. You're going to train them because they are the people that we are going to send to the community. They are the ones that will bring cases to us. This is the prevalency issue in the community. And so we must be prepared also to teach and to educate. And so we also have a nurse as a supervisor. As a supervisor, a nurse is a leader. A nurse is a leader. There is no fast rule about that. And so you must be able to lead and coordinate things. And a nurse as a researcher. A nurse as a researcher in the sense that you must be abreast of time, as in information. You must have new record, new information, so that you can be able to know what is current practice and also use that in influencing the care of the people in the community. All right, I think that is that about the last piece. And in conclusion, we've seen that in this short live discussion, we've looked at the definition of primary health care. We've looked at the component of primary health care. We've also looked at the principles of primary health care, and we've unpacked each of these. Although it is not as extensive as what you have in the video that is already online, that's why I want to encourage you that you should please download the video on the VLE and listen to it and make your note. I hope I'll be able to post your assignment before the end of the week so that you can use all these materials in preparation for your exam. And so far, that is what for you on this Unit 2. I want to welcome question and contribution at this junction. I must say thank you for those of you that are live in this facilitation. Welcome.